That takes me to number one. The number one Hello and welcome to Nollywood Fellow, a channel where I talk Nollywood. And today I'm going to be talking rom-coms because it is, after all, the Valentine's week. So without much delay, here is my list of top 5 Nollywood rom-coms. At number 5 is Cambil, a quintessential rom-com of a goofy lucky-go-happy girl who loses a job, gets dumped, and who's trying to win back her fiance. It's an enjoyable, breezy film that's visually lovely and rich. It is very rom-com and very Nollywood. Now moving on to number 4, Hire a Woman. I know the only thing I don't like about this movie is its name, which sounds a bit, I don't know what to say, objectifying, for lack of a better word. Anyway, the story is of a man who is going for his college reunion where his ex-flame is going to be there. So he gets his colleague to accompany him and pretend to be his girlfriend with the aim of making his ex jealous. You see where the movie is going, right? Wrong. Well, of course, it's not an earth-shattering twist, but it's a real nice one and a real sweet one added. This movie makes for lovely weekend viewing. At number 3 is Big Love. This is probably the most intense movie on this list. It's about a woman who's once bitten, twice shy, and her reluctance towards falling in love again is what the movie is all about. And what makes it even harder for her is that she has a child out of wedlock. It's a feel-good movie with depth. That's a rare combination. And there's an honesty in the storytelling that is beautiful. Do check it out on Prime Video. At number 2 is Wedding Party. It's one of the highest grossing movies of its time. The Wedding Party can be called a milestone in Nollywood. The movie has 2 parts, and the basic premise of both parts is about inter-community weddings, the confusions, the clashes of the cultures. That's quite an alliteration there. Well, part 1 has a Yoruba guy and an Igbo girl, while part 2 has a Nigerian guy and a Brit girl. I'm a bigger fan of part 1 because it was more nuanced. I mean, a lot of the nuances were alien to me, but that's the beauty of cinema, right? You still get to understand those nuances there. While part 2 had many cliches like a white man asking for more pepper soup and then not being able to handle the spice, things like that. But despite that, I would say the first 5 minutes of part 2, it's one of the funniest scenes I've ever come across. And if you're new to Nollywood, binge watch both the parts and you'll find yourself going down the rabbit hole of Nollywood. And that takes me to number 1. The number 1 rom-com from Nollywood is Naija Christmas. The most interesting thing about this movie is that it's directed by the celebrated director Kunle Afolayan, and when you mention his name, a rom-com is probably the last thing to come to your mind. But despite that, what he's done here is spectacular. Basic story of 3 brothers from a rich family who have to find wives to bring home by Christmas so that they can fulfill their mother's wish and also get all the property. Well, one of the biggest victories of this film is that it successfully evades a lot of traps of predictability and cliches, that the plot itself lends to. Well, the movie is very Naija, it's very Christmassy, it's really funny and very family-y, if at all that's a word. And its South African remake is being released this very weekend on Netflix. It's going to be called A Soweto Love Story. So that is a number 1 Nollywood rom-com. Now moving on to honourable mentions. Potato. The only reason this isn't in the top 5 is because I'm not sure if this qualifies as Nollywood, because the director is from Ghana, and she is one of my favorite African directors, Shirley Frimpong Manso. And this movie is about a divorced couple who are still living in the same house. Now, given the limitations of the plot, there's some beautiful storytelling here. It's a lovely film. The next one is Love is War. It's a story of a middle-aged couple with a healthy marriage who find themselves going against each other in an election. The story has depth and two actors who I just love watching on screen. There's Omonioboli and RMD. All in all, it's a beautiful movie. The next one I'll talk about is Namaste, Wahala. Well, I'm not a fan of this movie, but then a cross-community, cross-cultural romance is always heartwarming, especially when the two cultures in question here are my own culture and one that I'm increasingly becoming fond of. And despite its shortcomings, Namaste Wahala definitely scores high on the cultural nuances. The next one is Isoken, another beautiful cross-cultural rom-com. It felt a bit Bollywoodish, except that this was way more progressive. The representation of a strong career-oriented woman is so much more effortless here and in Nollywood in general. Also, having a lead male who is a foreigner is something you won't see in Bollywood. You know, in Bollywood, you'll find many movies with a female lead who's a foreigner. Very few ones with a male lead, and even those ones didn't work out. But seeing the success of Isoken and Namaste Wahala, it is quite telling of how accepting the Nigerian audiences and people in Nigeria are. One last movie for the road. This is The Order of Things. It's a story of a guy who has found love but can't get married unless his elder brother gets married, because that is the order of things. This movie is far from being great cinema, but it is undoubtedly funny and entertaining. So guys, do let me know your list of favorite Nollywood rom-coms, and do let me know what you thought of my list as well. And that's it for this time. Till next time, this is me, Nolly Goodfellow, signing off. Take care. Do like, share, comment, and subscribe. Thank you. Bye.